aka Clarence Tampa III. The section coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the best what we do, what we know. So let's go. Like crazy, the big board has changed, guys. It's different. And guess who's lead? Guess who went up on the big board? Yep. You getting all the videos at the same time. If you are a member, become a member. Like Rawhide, Bishop, and LMV. Shout out to y'all. What's up, y'all? What's going on, man? Y'all, yeah, the big board's changing. Mike Green. Mike Green, man, the edge from. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about defense, man. Let's talk about these defensive rookies, man. And how a lot of them will impact the game, and how maybe a lot of these teams may be willing to go defense before they even pick up a quarterback. Maybe, man. Because some of these guys will be shot. Some of these guys will move up. A lot of these guys will move up, believe it or not, once they go to the combine and they keep showing and they improve from the workouts today, and they show improvement at the workouts at the combine. They will jump up on boards. Teams will be willing to make more risk. This will become more of a chess match. Um, just as Bishop explained to us yesterday, this will become more of a chess match when it comes to the draft and how these guys will draft and pick players accordingly, right? This will happen. This just isn't something I'm saying. This is a fact that is going to happen, and it's going to go down. So when we looking at a lot of these teams, man, and you get to looking at some of these guys and saying to yourself, okay, well, who's going to come off first? Mike Green jumped up on the big boards according to PFF. I didn't pay for it, but I can show you guys real quick. Yeah, he's that number 11 right now. He's just creeping up there, and quite frankly, seeing what he did and ranking him and giving him a 92.4 grade is possibly putting him up there as the number one, 6'4", 248. Um, they got James Pierce at 87, so he's already ranked higher than James Pierce. But at big board, he's ranked lower. He's even higher ranking than Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Abdul Carter's heavier, but he's taller. And he's very strong. So somebody might even want to go Mike Green and reach and grab Mike Green, but do you think that they would be wrong? Or do we even think that that may be even a reach? So that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about was this defense, because like, do I think that that's even a reach? Because look, some of these guys are going to be drafted based off of their speed and what they done years prior, right? I'm not mad at what they did years prior, but I do want to pay attention to what they have done in this past season too. You know what I'm saying? I do want to pay attention to that, but they got him at Mike Green right now as the number 2 edge according to PFF. I don't. To be honest, like, he got to be number 1 overall. He's led this. He's led the FBS in sacks. He showed that it just wasn't at Marshall when he went against one of the best offensive tackles that this draft is possibly going to provide. He showed that. So, I mean, what else could you say? I mean, let's talk, like, you know what I mean? Get the conversation started down in the comments. Let me know, because maybe I'm tripping, but I mean, if that doesn't show the best, he's like 92.4. I said 94, 92.4, but still, like, that shows the best to me. I mean, there's some guys that I've mentioned before, and like I said, like, and now you got Abdul Carter now. Now somebody that was looking at taking Abdul Carter might be looking at taking Mike Green. I don't think you can mess with either one of those guys. I honestly don't think you can mess. To be like, if we're being honest, I don't think you can mess with either one of those guys. But if we're frankly just talking that, then I think that you have to look at those those stats and look at that and say to yourself, okay, so what do we do? Because you also got the defensive end from Boston College, Donovan, 6'2", 247. I don't know if he's coming out from New Jersey. I don't know if he's coming out or not, but he has 16 and a half sacks. I mean, you cannot overlook the sacks that a player has. You just can that's how you can't overlook that. You be a fool to overlook the amount of sacks somebody have. And when you got 16 sacks in the ACC, Antoine Powell rolling, both ACC defensive ends, Boston College and Virginia Tech's, like when they have double digit sacks. Antoine Powell Royland has 16, and he's not up on a big board, but he's a steal. Gotta be a steal, you know what I mean? Maybe they're not showing out in the workouts enough. That's crazy to me. But because if we're being honest, when I seen when I first learned of Mike Green, I mentioned him before, of was because me looking up the sack leaders in the NCAA. And I wound up seeing Mike Green's name. And now everybody's talking about him because he, showed dominance in the workouts. Well, obviously you have to have some level of dominance if you have more than, you know, 13 sacks in a college football season. You have to have some level of dominance. I don't know if the young man from James Madison's going to come out from Staten Island, New York, but he has 13 sacks. JT Timmy Lawler from Ohio State got 12 and a half sacks. Senior 6'5", 269. I think he's going to be a guy to get. Um, like, I mean, we're not talking about no shortages. You know what I mean? He has two forced fumbles. Mike Green, Donovan from Boston College, and Antoine Powell, and they all have three forced fumbles. I'm not making this up. I'm looking at the stats right now. Watch out! Like, I'm not making this up. These guys are ballers. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys are ballers, man. Like, and that it does not, stats don't tell the whole story. But what they do give you is they give you a base to the story. They give you okay, he's getting to the quarterback, right? But why is he getting to the quarterback, right? Is it his dominance? Is he just that dominant? Is it the dominance of his help on his defensive line that was getting him there? First of all, you have to give credit to your whole defensive line. You have to give credit to your whole defensive line, first of all, when you're getting that many sacks, because without the help and them doing their jobs, you're not getting to the quarterback as much as you are, right? Right. That's plain and simple. Because if Abdul Carter gets doubled and triple teaming on a line for Penn State, is Penn State going to get a sack? Or you know what I mean, like vice versa. Y'all get what I'm saying? You got to get the help from your guys. It's just not you. But yeah. So you look at a guy like Antoine Powell, and he's a defensive lineman, by the way, and so is Mike Green. He was used as a defensive lineman, so he's can play every position on defensive line. I think that makes him a lot valuable. We seen Abdul Carter go around the defensive line, what makes him valuable. We seen Antoine Powell and go everywhere on the defensive line for Virginia Tech. He's very valuable. So these guys, man, are problems. These guys are problems, man. So shout out to the defensive linemen. These guys getting after it right now, man. I think you got at least a good 4, 5. Prince May I like him too. Um, and maybe more. I think you got more. I think we got more than just those few guys. Those are just guys that I'm naming off top, but there's a couple other guys too. Aeneas Pebbles from Virginia Tech, uh, Yahya Black from Iowa. Um, I mentioned Pershu May, Savion Jones from LSU, RJ Oben. from Notre Dame. There's guys out there, you know. Um, I'm really excited to see in this draft what these guys are going to do. So shout out to all the defensive linemen out there, man. Doing y'all thing, dog. I had to give it up for y'all big guys out there, man. But this big board, sometimes it trips me out. James Pierce, I forgot to mention James Pierce. Um, Big guy. Will Campbell's probably looked at as one of the best tackles, but even with him being one of the best tackles coming out, he's only graded at like a 72 or something like that. But Will Johnson, I think, is the best cornerback they say coming out, but they gave him a 76 grade, which is crazy to me. But because Will Johnson is going to take anything back to the house, I don't know how that happened. Can't really throw in his way or whatever else, but it's another conversation for another day. I do think Josh Simmons, a tackle from Ohio State, he's walked up the board a lot. He's walked up the board a lot. That's crazy. Tyler Warren has, Emeka Ibuka has, um, Calvin Banks, another tackle who's came up that walked up the board from Texas. He's also shown and jumped up the board. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame. He's also walked up the boards. Like the boards are changing, and they're going to keep changing, and they are going to keep changing. Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, he's shown out there. I'm surprised to see the number of tackles that are going up the board. Armand Mibu from Mizzou, tackle, he's jumped up the board. It's crazy because like it's funny, like throughout the season we really don't see the offensive line doing their work until we go into the film and you actually look at the film and say, okay, now there's a Joe O, you know what I mean? But I don't know if I'm quite still saying that, but there got to be some guys out there that can block, right? Obviously, you know what I mean? But we're not seeing that many, but we do know that Gray Zabel has moved up from North Dakota State, excuse me. Jack Sawyer, the edge from no Ohio State, another Ohio State guy who's went up. Kenneth Grant, I think he's dropped on the board, but they're changing, man, and that's due to these workouts, which is crazy to me because throughout the season you've seen some of these guys who have been consistent on in the stats category, and we just can't throw stats out of the window because of workouts, and I know Bishop broke it down to me beautifully. And like you're saying, the best against the best, but since stats don't tell the whole story, neither do workouts. But give credit. But when you showing up with the stats, to me, that just changes everything. That changes everything when you work out because I believe Noah Williams, the DB from Cal, who's led the FBS in interceptions with 7, 8 passes defended. I believe that he showed okay in the workouts. He didn't show bad in the workouts at all. So that had to catapult him up there on the board as far as DBs. If not, then I think that if you get Noah Williams, it's just going to create another situation to where you're seeing Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, two cornerbacks that can go in and start immediately for your defense, wind up being drafted to the same team. Somebody's going to get lucky just like that in this draft. We're going to see a team or maybe even a couple teams because I think that there's probably that many guys that probably can help out because they're not. I don't think they're being fairly evaluated for some reason. I just don't because and this is why I don't believe these guys are being fairly evaluated on defense because first of all, I think the defense, right? It's not simple, and I'm not knocking and saying that defense is simple because I love the defense side of the ball, but I think they're doing a better job with evaluating the offensive talent. But then again, I can't even say that because there's always guys who fall in the third, fourth round and wind up being more productive than the first round picks. You know what I'm saying? It's like that every single year. It's not that they're going to get everything right, but when you're at these invitationals and you're seeing these guys go against the best, That is supposed to be a bulk of your scouting report. That is your part of your evaluation. You know what I mean? So why are they not getting it right? I still have to believe that they're not getting it right because they're not looking at the whole package in this situation. They're not looking at the whole package. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell's stats last year told us that they would be good receivers to pick. I mean, good cornerbacks and good DBs to pick. Somehow slipped to a team that was on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl in the Philadelphia Eagles, both being drafted. Now, one is hurt, granted, but both being picked. That's crazy. Now, can I see the Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Xavier Watts from Notre Dame and getting Noah Williams from Cal? Absolutely. That definitely can happen. That definitely can happen because everybody who runs their big boards and everybody who gives grades on players, for some reason, no, you're not going to get it right because this is a hard job to do. It's not easy. I respect it. You know what I mean? I'm a sports content creator. So, yes, I respect the fact that, you know what I mean, that this is hard. It's not easy to do, to go in and evaluate the players, especially if you're not watching the film on these players and you're just going off stats, or if you are watching the film and you're not looking at stats, or if you not paying attention to stats or film and you just want to see them work out in one-on-ones, and against people, and if you know what I mean. So to each its own, and everybody has their evaluation. That's why no matter what someone says, you always have to do your own homework. You always have to do your own research into these players and looking at them. But everything that I couldn't believe, my mind was blown, and I keep going back to that it's Philadelphia Eagles pickup because my mind was blown. My mind was blown when I seen Washington's draft. You know what I mean? Last year, like my mind was blown. And it's like they are not doing that anymore. Like teams are not that, like, how is that possible? How is that possible for the Washington Commanders to have such a draft like that? I get it. The Capital, they had a horrible season, but that's how's it possible for the Philadelphia Eagles to get two DBs like that? How, you know what I mean? Like it's just crazy to me because all these guys who have supposed to have names are supposed to be so productive and so fast and everything else are not being productive on the field. They're at times, I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, at times these guys are showing up, but they're not really stepping up and blowing your mind. They're blowing your mind out away, blowing you away with their athletic ability or what they're supposed to be doing on the field. But then these other guys are like, oh, this undrafted rookie free agent just came out of nowhere and he's putting these other guys to shame. Like, it happens because there's so much talent. But there has to be a better way of there has to be a better way of getting your guys to your team and evaluating these guys. And I think, and like I said, I don't believe that one particular way of how you're scouting the talent works. Everything adds up. But one thing I can say is they say numbers don't lie. What I tell you is numbers steer you in the right direction, right? Numbers can lie, but numbers can steer you in the right direction, right? You know what I mean? Like they can tell you which way that I think you should go. You know what I mean? But it's not the whole story. Now I may need to see him in a one-on-one drill, but then I may need to see him also go through the three-cone drill. And I also may see him that go through this. You know what I mean? But it all adds up. It's kind of like religion to me a little bit. There's so many of them, but there's only one. You know what I mean? But there's so many of them. There's only one. Yeah, and then so do you pray to all? Do you pray? When you pray, do you mention all to make sure that it's getting to the one? You know what I'm saying? Like it's. I know it sounds whatever, but we'll leave that alone, right? But you're looking at this. Maybe that was a better analogy. But you're looking at this, right? And you're just looking at this. You're looking at it and you're saying it. So I know I'm saying to myself, like, well, There's really no way to get right. But I mean, but if I want to get a good, defensive back or a good linebacker, I want to know this linebacker was how high was he in tackles? Okay, in the country first, I'm looking at first, the whole nation, and then I want to look in the conference with tackles. Was he one of the best tacklers in the conference? So if he wasn't one of the best tacklers in the conference, and I'm looking for a linebacker, then why would I think that he's going to be a good tackler in the NFL? But he wasn't in college. But there is an exception that some guys do translate better over to the pros because they're playing in a pro atmosphere. But I don't think that works for defense. You know what I'm saying? If you bad on defense in college, I think you're probably gonna be bad in NFL on defense. That's just me. Now offense is different. It's a different game because now you're getting the best defenders, and I think that may be the problem. I think there are better defensive athletes in the NFL that way outnumber the good athletes in the pros. I think that's what's happening, and that's why you see some games boring, or sometimes these games are overmatched and they're not enough scoring. And that when you see games like that, that's what may be happening, right? Because I mean, let's just call it what it is. Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm just bringing up the Super Bowl just for example. Like neither one of those guys got to throw for $150 for their team to win. Both of those guys can throw 3 interceptions and possibly still win a game because of their defense. So I mean, am I not on the right path here? Am I not staring in the right direction? Just look at the stats. Stats say it sometimes. Sometimes it don't tell the whole story, but it's going to give you an idea of who that player is. Stats speak a lot. They speak a lot to you. For example, Xavier Watts. Let's talk. If we talk to Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, and I told you he had 53 solo tackles, 83 total tackles, 30 assisted tackles, 9 passes defended, 6 interceptions, 1 touchdown, and 1 forced fumble. What does that tell me about Xavier Watts? Statistically, the story tells me with 53 solo tackles, he's a good open field tackler. With 30 assisted tacklers, he's always around the ball. He's a ball hawk. He's always there to help, regardless, right? Because he got 30 assisted tackles. So he's always around the ball, around the play. He's good at reading the play. He has 9 passes defended. So, if he's not intercepting the ball with the 6 interceptions that he has, he's batting the ball down. He's playing sticky defense on you. Even when you do catch it, he's playing sticky defense on you. He's definitely on his guy. And he has a touchdown on defense. So he ran one of them pick sixes back. So he definitely know how to read. And he got a forced fumble. So he's strong. That's what that tells me about it. Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, the safety. Is that a safety I want to take a chance on? Absolutely. But now I need more work on him. Maybe I need a second opinion on him. So what more do I need to see Xavier Watts? Do I need Xavier Watts to go to the Senior Bowl and work out? Probably not. But do I think Xavier Watts is going to be a good would he be a good in the pros? Probably. Probably. 6'3", 6', 203 senior. Do I probably hard worker, definitely, and he comes from a great system. You know what I'm saying? Come from Marcus Freeman, so that tells me a lot too. He ain't coming from a program where, you know what I mean. He's been there. He ain't coming from a program where the culture is kind of upside down. Marcus Freeman got a good culture up at Notre Dame. That's a guy I want on my team. That's a guy I want on my defense. That is. Let's talk about Jahdae Barron from Texas. Did they give up? You're going to give up touchdowns. You're going to give up touchdowns, but he's batted some of the most passes in college football. 11 batted passes on the season. 46 solo tackles, 21 assisted tackles, 5 interceptions. What does that tell me about Jahdae Barron from Texas? DB. He's a DB. He's just not. He's not a safety. He's not a corner. He's a DB. Same thing with Noah Williams, a DB. Could probably put these guys anywhere. Let me see where he fits at on this. Let me see where I can use him in my scheme. A multiple scheme type of guy that you can slide anywhere. But this, you know what I mean? And the story, like that's they don't tell everything, but they give you a story. They give you a glimpse of what that player is like. They do. And the film does too. The film does too. So now you gotta now I have to look at the film and see if the film matches up. Okay, he does struggle. He does struggle getting to the ball because he gets caught up in the wash. But he's around, but he's getting caught up in the wash. He has to do better at reading. He is reading the correct, you know what I mean? Maybe he's being late reading the play. That's what the film's going to tell me. Now, if I seen Xavier Watts by the stats, that's what it's going to tell me. He's around the ball. But however, if I see the film, might say that it may be different. Oh, he's reacting late. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. And that, so you got to be able to do it all. Got to be able to see it all, man. And I just don't know if some of these guys have the time or they're correlating back and forth and communicating back and forth the right way because we know at jobs, we all got jobs, right? Everybody has a job, everybody goes to work, right? And at your job, whatever job that may be, even if you own a business, that communication is always not on point. And when communication isn't, some things go awry sometimes. And I think that's how it is. From college to the NFL, sometimes communicates like playing telephone. It's like playing a game of telephone. You sat there and you know what I mean? You say one thing, and about the time you get to the end of the line, it's totally different than what you may have thought it was, right? So that's why you see some of these head coaches pop up at the combines or pop out at these pro days. Okay, because I heard from my staff that this kid, but I need to see it. I need to evaluate it. You know what I mean? But then some of these guys are still missing. Some of these teams are still missing on their picks because they were steered in the wrong direction in the first place. Your player may not even have been at Cal or UNLV. Your player probably in the CIAA. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. They're not everywhere. And you can't be everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. But I'm just saying it's liable from the miss. But I tell you what, I see differently. And you have to keep an open mind when you're doing things. You have to. You cannot be so close minded to just going with the popular opinion on every single thing. You just cannot do it because all the time they're not going to be right all the time. If I'm going to be wrong, I'd rather be wrong my way and learn than be wrong doing it somebody else's way. You know what I mean? So now I get it. I get it, right? I'm not going to strap up a bungee cord to myself, and I'm not a certified bungee jumper. You know what I mean? I'm not going. I'm gonna probably listen to the bungee jumper and do it. Now, you know what I mean? I'm probably gonna listen to a certified bungee jumper. I'm not gonna bungee jump my way off no bridge. You get what I'm saying? There's certain things in life we gotta say. You gotta say, okay. Now, I picked up some things with this individual, but I gotta figure it out my way. It has to click to me my way. It got to make sense to me and I have to make this make sense to me however that is. That's what the best of us do. That is what the best of us do. We listen to the advice and we get great advice from great people all the time. But what makes you great and what makes you great at what you do is because you're able to take that information, put it in your way and use it to your ability. And now you're great at it because you were able to do it your way. Now, was it the same exact advice? Yeah, but it wasn't. You don't do it the same exact way they taught you to or told you to, but you're still good at what you do. Now, do I have an unorthodox way of doing things? Absolutely. But do I know the game? Yes. Yes. And that's all I'm saying, man. But look, defense, the boards are changing. Guys are moving up and down on the boards. I'm happy to see it. You see some of the boards on the down on the defensive side. I'll let y'all scroll. I'll scroll down or up. I'll scroll down so you guys can see some of the other guys on the defensive side on the right side of your screen here. And yeah, man, I'm happy to see Ty Robinson in there from Nebraska. I think he's gonna be untamed. But look, that's all I had to say with that one, y'all. I know I got y'all for like a half. It's all good. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Sports with Track and Chubby, man. Make sure you subscribe and share, man. I'm up out of here.